Welcome to my make, do and mend video. How often have you seen items that you really want? I know I've wanted a mirror like this for several years. The cheapest that I've seen one is $2,500. So there's other items as well I like, especially if you watch my videos, you know I like vintage and antique. So I'm going to show you with a little bit of imagination and a lot of thrifted finds, maybe items that you have around the house, how you create things for your home that don't have to cost a fortune and maybe aren't quite as nice as the items you want, but they're not bad and they will make do until that day when you can afford those beautiful things. As ever, let's start with the thrift haul. I saw this shell and I knew I wanted it. Especially for $2. Now I thought I was going to use it as a planter, but when I got it home and gave it a really good clean, I had an amazing idea. Many years ago I used to make little trinket trays, and in fact I made a wreath once out of oyster shells that I used to decoupage. I've seen them done on various platforms, whether it's Pinterest, and I'm going to start looking out for more shells to do it again, but that's what I have planned for that. I always pick up these lovely brass picture frames. I have quite a collection now. These will be going in my curio cabinet. That's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks as I make that over. These are really good quality, as you can see, 50 cents each. You certainly can't go wrong. This little, I think this is from IKEA, and I used to have these. This has had a candle in it. I had an idea for a little hanging crystals in the window, so I'm going to show you that afterwards. This was an absolute great find. The metallics were 50% off, so I paid $3.50 for this, and the little silver tray I paid, I think it was $2.50, but I love this ice bucket. I have a bigger one, a bigger version that I have a plant in right now. And then, yes, this was $5. I saw this and I could not let it go. It's lovely. It's not real silver, but it's got the little feet, and I thought it would be great for either on my table or on a shelf. So I also picked that up. I thought that was really lovely. This packet of pretty pictures and also these mats. I use these all the time when I'm reusing and making over art pieces, so I was quite pleased with that. I washed this out. It got a candle in it. I gave it a little bit of a gold leaf, put a hook through the top and dangled off these crystals, and the light refracts through it beautifully and casts shadows all over the kitchen. It's absolutely lovely in the window. Now to this shell. Now I liked the shell and I loved it more once it was clean. So what I decided to do was I was going to either gold leaf the inside, but then I had a different idea. So I measured to see how much space I had inside, and I have these lovely decoupage napkins that I've had for quite a while. So I'm going to decoupage the inside of the shell, and then I'm just around the rim I'm going to add a little bit of gold leaf. So I've decoupaged the inside and given a coat of the glossy on top, which is also the waterproof. Now this is gold leaf size that I'm putting all around the rim. I leave that for 30 minutes, and that's when I come back and add in my gold leaf. Now you've seen me do this many times. I really do enjoy using gold and silver leaf, and I think sometimes, depending on the project, it can absolutely make it or break it. So I really like the contrast between the blue and the inside, the gold leaf, and then the iridescence of the shell, and I think it's turned out really lovely. When you're using gold leaf, if you notice once you've got all your gold leaf on and there's little areas that have been missed, you can go back with the size, add little patches, wait for it for 30 minutes and then add the the gold leaf back on it again. That will give you complete coverage. I always go over it with a really soft brush. Here I've got like wool, but this makes sure that it's all rubbed in nicely in all the little nooks and crannies. See, as I was doing this, little pieces of the gold leaf were falling inside the shell. Now, because the decoupage was still a little bit tacky, they did stick, but I really liked how this looked, so I left it. I'm very pleased with this, just as a decorative object. I think it's lovely, and I think it looks really high-end. You know, you'd see this in Anthropology or somewhere, and it would not be inexpensive. I love how it's turned out, and I love the little gold flecks inside. It's quite durable. It's got the gloss Mod Podge in it, so you know you could put things in it and it's not going to get damaged. Let's get to these lampshades now. You know I'm obsessed with lampshades, and these two gave me the inspiration for what I wanted to do. I have these little shades. I've got 6 of them. I use them for all the little jobs that I have. I have sconces in the living room that I want to match the curtains and the existing lights that I have. Now, I've moved a few things around in the living room. I've changed pictures, swapped them around. We'll come to that in a little while, but to finish them off, I wanted to put these little lampshades on the sconces, and obviously I wanted them to match. Now, as you can see, these are scraps of fabric that were left over from when I lengthened the curtains. So I know I haven't got enough to do all of the lampshades, so one of the pictures showed panels of one plain fabric and one pattern fabric. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm making rough templates out of the chinoiserie, which is this yellow fabric. And what I'm doing is I'm gluing them in place and then trimming them once they're on the lamp. You can make templates out of the material. You can roughly cut it and measure it. You can make paper templates. However you want to make these fit, do them, which is easier for you. I find it's easier for me this way. So what I do, every other panel is going to be this lovely yellow curtain fabric, and then the panels in between I'm going to make them out of velvet, a contrasting velvet, and then I'm going to add trim at all the joins around the top and the bottom. So you can see here I've glued 2 on, and this one I'm showing you how to make a template sort of with the same type of fabric. So what I've done is I've turned the fabric inside out, and I'm just marking where the spines of the lampshade are roughly with a pencil, and then I'm cutting that out there. These are good if you want to make more than one panel, and you want to cut them all out together. So what I would do here is I've cut this out. I would then put that and make panels out of the velvet so that I know they are the exact shape to fit the extra 3 panels. So like I said, depending on how you want to do this, you want 1 panel of fabric and then you want 1 panel of the velvet. This is where I'm getting my velvet from. This colour I liked more than any other piece of velvet that I had. This is an old Pottery Barn pillowcase that I've had for many years. What I've done is I'm just taking it apart. It had washed and it shrunk funny, so I'm just cutting it at the seams and I'm taking the panel of velvet off it. So I've got the piece of velvet cut out, and what I've done is I've made a template, as I said, and I'm now cutting out 6 of these because I have 2 lampshades, and because they are the exact shape of the panel, they fit exactly. And then what I've done, once they're cut out, I'm just gluing them into place. Here we are with the finished lampshades. You can see I just made little panels in the same fabric to cover the joins, and then I've got a little bit of trim that I had left over from another job, and I've just added to the top and the bottom. And again, it just finishes the room off perfectly. Okay, quickest and easiest makeover for a lamp ever. I've wanted to do this for ages. I just took Dollar Tree butterflies, now the paper ones or these little plasticky ones, and stuck them to the inside of the lampshade. It looks so cool. It's so impactful and so easy. I wish I'd have done it months ago. It looks great. Here's another trick that I've been doing for years, and it completely changes the look of the room. You can take your pictures from any room anywhere in the house. What I've done here is on the behind our couch I had this, we call it my equestrian wall. It was lovely and I really liked it, but on top of one of my curio cabinets I have a vignette that's very equestrian as well, and I wanted to put some of these photos, these pictures over there. So I took down the sconces and decided to swap all my pictures over. I really wanted to move them around, so I moved some beside the TV, above and below the sconces, and then I got all my beautiful landscapes and put them all on the back wall behind the couch, and it looks absolutely spectacular. It looks gorgeous. It's really impactful. And then where I took my other pictures from, I decided to put some of my plates up. Now, I've done this before in various houses, but I thought it really lends itself, especially with my curio cabinet with all my beautiful transferware. And some of it's got some lovely patterns on, and it seems a shame just to have them stacked in the cabinet. So like I said, from previous projects, I've had lots of these plates hooks, and that's exactly what I've done. I've put the blue and white plates around the mirror in the dining room, and then I've put a little bit of a collection above the desk. I've got more to go on. I've ran out of the smaller hangers for the plates, and you need to make sure they're done properly, otherwise they're going to come crashing down in the night. I was well and truly on the spring bandwagon, so I swapped out my velvet curtains in the kitchen for my beautiful blue toile spring and summer curtains. I also changed out the window. The window gets very cool in the winter time, so all the plants, they don't do very well. So I pulled in my sun catcher. I've changed out the pots, and I've got my lovely champagne buckets, and I filled them with ivies. And over the next few weeks, this is really going to go absolutely crazy. The sun and the heat really makes these plants grow absolutely balmy. They go mad. I have to make sure they keep them watered, but everything in this little window just goes crazy for the summertime, and it is beautiful. Now, this window has actually the seals gone on it, and it's starting to condensate, but once it is full of sunlight and greenery, it is absolutely a gorgeous place to look out and to look in from the garden. So this is the mirror that I'm trying to dupe. It's a combination of this and this. I've seen them, as I said, in various places, mostly in Europe, but they are absolutely gorgeous. But what I'm going to try to do, this is the space that I want to put the mirror in. And what I've done is I've got bits and pieces that I've been thrifting over the last few weeks, and I have an existing mirror. And I'm going to see how this comes together. I might tweak it sort of after the fact, but for all intents and purposes, it's just mirrors, smoke and mirrors, let's put it that way. I have this metallic silver paint that I'm going to just be covering everything in. That's what's already on the mirror, existing mirror that I've got. And I'm just going to paint everything else with this silver paint. So this little mirror was not laying flat, so I just took the backing piece out of it. and then I'm going to re-stick another piece in, just because everything's going to be stuck to hot glued together, and I just need everything to lay flat once it's in place. As I said, everything is going to be covered with a coat of this silver paint. I'm also going to go over it in areas with silver leaf, and then I'm going to go back over everything with a black brush just to give it a little bit of depth. The next thing to do is to make the panels of glass. So what I'm going to do is I've taken this tape, it's a metallic tape, and I think it's used for ducting. I grabbed this out of my husband's toolbox. It's now mine. It's metallic, as I said. It's like almost like a very thin tin, and you fold it in half. It's got a sticky piece, a piece that you peel off the back so that it sticks. So I folded it in half, cut it, and I just cut it with a blade. It cuts really easily. Then I folded it again, and I ended up with a whole load of very thin pieces of this. You can see here, it's like a ribbon, but it's metallic. I marked on the glass where I wanted my panels to be, and then stuck it down in a grid. Once that was done, then I went over it with like a burnishing tool to make sure it was really safely on the glass, and it worked great. I then grabbed, these are old vintage push pins. They've got little stars on them, and these are going to be the rosettes for the joins on all the glass. So I'm just going to super glue them down. I clipped the backs, little pins off, and then just super glue them down. Now the next part I thought I'd videoed, but I hadn't. I took this outside. I had a wet cloth with vinegar and dishwasher soap on, and a can of etching spray, and I just sprayed the whole mirror, and then I wiped off the areas where I didn't want the etching spray to be, so you can see the areas around the joins and closer to the perimeter of the glass. I then brought it back in once it was dry, and you can see it's given it that aged appearance. And then I've gone over it with a very dry black chalk paint brush and just rubbed it in and then rubbed it away. I then took this gold paint and just got it on the end of my brush, and then flicked it all over, just again to give another layer and to give that vintage feel to the glass. Now I could have stopped there, but I had these little decals. I'm not sure what they were. They are metal and they are magnetic. I got them in a set a few weeks ago when I was thrifting. I'm not sure what they are, but what I did was I just glued them all around the perimeter of the glass, where every time there's a piece of tape that comes across that gives it the appearance of a panel. And then it was time to assemble everything and put it in place.